안녕하세요. 저는 제이입니다. 만나서 반갑습니다. 잠깐만, selfie. Okay, ready? Say cheese. 하나, 둘, 셋. 감사합니다. So, who here knows Atlassian? Who knows Atlassian? Raise high. Okay, so some. So, our mission, Atlassian's mission, is to improve teamwork. We build software that helps teams work better together. And we exist as a company to unlock the potential in teams to achieve great outcomes. One team that we focus on helping is the team building software. So, who here works on a software team? Right? Many people work in software teams. So, thank you. You are the future because every company is becoming a software company, and software holds the most promise to change the world and to advance humanity. And we believe that we make a difference to help teams work better together. Every team is trying to accomplish an outcome. They are trying to get to finish, to done. And to get to done, each team must organize, discuss, and do work together. And this is what Atlassian products help teams do. Jira helps teams organize shared work, tasks, and activity and bugs and features. HipChat is a product that helps teams discuss in real time what they're doing together. And Bitbucket is a product for sharing source code, for developers to share source code together. And Confluence is a product to help all teams share text and images and content. And these products help teams get to finish faster. So our products are available for our customers both in the cloud as a service or to install on their own data center, their own IT machines, and they can manage behind the firewall. So the customer can choose. And we have 43,000 companies around the world who use Atlassian products to help their teams achieve great outcomes. Like NASA. So NASA uses Atlassian in the development of software in mission control and the development of software on the Mars rover that landed on the planet Mars. Amazon is a company, a software company that has changed e-commerce. And Atlassian teams, or Amazon teams, use Atlassian products to develop a lot of Amazon software. And Tesla is a company that is using software to change the automobile industry, and also is a large customer of all Atlassian products. So these are some examples of great teams and great companies that use Atlassian software to improve how their teams work. So you will hear a lot today about Atlassian. I wanted to spend a little time talking about some key innovations that we have introduced to improve how teams organize, discuss, and do work. So some examples of how we use our products ourselves. So let's begin with organizing work. To organize work in a software project, you need to understand the status of work that people are doing. And oftentimes, using a project management system, we have simple stages of work. We need to begin work to do. We have a progress section where we are doing work. And then if we're writing code, maybe we need to review, a code review, before we can commit the code and be done with that feature or that bug fix. And these aren't even phases. In actuality, the progress phase is where most of the time is spent, as people are actually writing code, doing work. And so we have a brief phase where we need to begin, and then a big phase where we do, and then a small review and a small done. But if you use a system to track issues or track tasks, like Jira, when you ask that system for a status, it often looks like this, which it has a very long period waiting for work to begin. And then a very brief, I did it, I have it reviewed, I'm done. And the reason for this is because the developer doesn't have time to change the status of a ticket or an issue because they're too busy working. And so the issue system doesn't have accurate information. We call this the not up-to-date problem, because the developer should be writing code, not updating the bug system or the issue system. And what happens is other team members ask the developer for the status. What's the current status of the sprint? Or, I am in QA, can I begin testing your code? This is frustrating because the developer just wants to work. So we wanted to make this easier in Atlassian products. And we believe that developers shouldn't have to do status update at all. We can do that for them with a robot, with an assistant. So Atlassian products have a lot of information about what the developer is doing, when they are committing code, when they have a pull request for a code review, when the code is merged into the master. We know all this. So we can use that information to change the status of a ticket, of an issue. Here's an example of how this works. So we have a simple workflow that I mentioned before. To do, in progress, in review, finish. So in this case, the developer on the bottom branches the code and begins to make commitments to the branch. Jira can see this work and can automatically advance the issue from to do to in progress. So we automatically change the status. When the developer opens a pull request for another developer to review the code, Jira sees this and can advance the issue to in review. No manual change, all automatic change. When the pull request is merged into master, from the branch development to the master, Jira can see this and can change the status of the issue to complete, finish. So the developer has only worked on code and writing code, and the status of the work has changed automatically. Often, your teams have maybe more complex workflow, and that's okay because Jira has a set of triggers that you can map to your workflow steps. So you can make the automatic status update based on how you work. The benefit is that the status of what teams are doing is always current. And it means less interruption to your developers who can just write code, who can work on writing code. So that's one innovation around organizing work. Let's talk about discussing work. So when we have a problem as a consumer, maybe we search the internet. We use Naver, or in the US we use Google to look for an answer to a question we have. But inside our company, it's not so easy. Maybe we have a problem and we need to contact IT. And IT may have a help desk system. And maybe there's an issue with some software that the employee has. So IT must go to the developer. And the developer has a different system, like a bug tracking system. And so many different systems to help the employees work together. And 40% of Jira customers had used Jira as a one system to connect all of these teams. So we built on top of Jira, we built a new product called the Jira Service Desk. And I'll give you an example of how we use internally. So in this example, an HR employee notices a problem with the Jira instance. A function is missing. The agile function is missing. So they go to a service operations space in our company. And here they can report an incident or they can search. So they begin to search. The Jira Agile tab is missing. This is a problem. But there is no article that helps them. So they must create an incident to report the problem. So a very simple screen they can complete. They hit submit. It goes to the service operation people in IT, in our IT. And many other employees begin to report the same problem. This Agile tab is missing. So this is a Jira issue screen that was created from the report page, the incident page. And now the technical staff begins to work on the problem. So we see some log files that are on the page. We can analyze the log file to understand the problem. So David is a service engineer, and he says, I believe this is a problem with plugin updates to the software. And Mike is a release manager, and he believes this problem may affect other instances of this problem. So he mentions Andreas, who is a developer for Jira. So Andreas joins the conversation, and he analyzes more of the log files, and he discovers that the plugin was in an invalid state. So the system must be restarted. That will fix the problem. Matt then notices that this affects other customers, so he must restart other instances to help the customer. So you see, there's many different teams, from IT to development to the employee, that worked across one system to resolve this technical issue. And we did so in less than the 2 hours we promised to respond to the employee. So the employee gets a simple communication on their ticket that it is fixed. We resolve the issue. And all the collaboration happens between the technical teams on Jira. And every team inside your company is a service team. So at Atlassian, we can create many types of service projects for different business applications. Like an example, we have a company apartment. So if an employee from Korea flies to visit San Francisco, they can book a company apartment to stay in San Francisco instead of a hotel. So they have a service desk application to request the booking. Very simple. Our lawyer, our legal team, they must do a contract review. So we have a service desk to request the contract review from our lawyers. Our marketing team has a request to send emails to customers. So we have a service desk to request those types of activity, and we can track it. So this is a way to improve how teams communicate and discuss work, even if there are very different teams that move across the company. And the way we work is a more open, more transparent. So that is the discussing work. And the final section is on doing work. So to begin, we should talk about how does the developer writing code, what is the workflow for writing code collaboratively? Well, it's very simple. The developer works on code, just writing code as an individual, and then they go through a code review with other developers where they ask other team members, can you look at my code? Can you review my code? And the reason they do this is to highlight potential problem before we ship, before we commit. And so this code review cycle helps resolve potential bugs, potential issues. It's very important. How about for content, not code? What is the number one tool that we use for collaborating on content? It's Microsoft Word, probably. And working with documents has a scale of pain that maybe you are familiar with. As I ask people to review my document, maybe they say, well, I added comments in the document. Or, I wrote my comments as text. Here's a new version with my comments. Or, I added comments to an older version. I didn't know there was a new one. Increasing pain. Or, here is the new final version. Please review my version again. Or the worst pain. I changed everything, but I didn't use the track changes. So you must figure out what I changed. So we've all probably had this experience. And we have a product, Confluence, that is a better way to collaborate on content, because there's one place to create content on the web. It is always version controlled, right, automatically, and it tracks all the changes that are made. But there's one challenge that Confluence had, which was the discussion of content and how to get to a final version. So Confluence has a commenting system, but the commenting system was part of the page, not part of the content. And so we fixed that. So we added a commenting for content. So this is how we use this. So this is a Confluence page we use internally. And this is a page for an event, around the world, an event. And this is copy for the external web page that team members are working on. So very simple. What you can do in Confluence is you can share the page and you invite Ken and Sven, you invite to the page to review the page. So I add the text, can you please give me feedback? So Ken joins the page and he reads the page. He does not like the title. So he highlights the title and he pushes a button, add comment. And now the comment window appears and he says, can we have a better headline? I don't like it. And he can mention Sven. So Sven will get an email notification that he must look at this. He saved it. He goes down to the next line and he says, should we mention there will be beer at the event? So now Sven gets a notification and he joins the page. So he sees there's a notification and he makes some suggestion for a new title. Then he comes to the next comment about the beer and he pushes the like. He pushes the like button to say, I agree. We should mention beer. So now Rudy is the first author, first writer. He comes to the page and he sees this discussion about the page. And he can resolve the comment and then make a change. He made the change to a better title, right? He comes to the comment about beer and he responds, no, everyone knows that Atlassian has a beer at its events, so we don't need to mention it. And then he also resolves the comment. So this is a discussion in the document that is part of the document. So these comments are part of the document, they're collaborative, and then they can become tasks that we can resolve, we can finish. So we have two different types of comments. Comments that are in line as part of the text, and comments that are about the page. Here is an example of where we use both of them at Atlassian. So this is an internal blog at our company that a developer manager wrote to share trends in software development. It's a very long page. And he asked for some discussion and suggestions about how to make this better so we can publish outside the company. So you see that as we go through the document, there's 6 comments, 2 comments, all in as part of the document, this discussion. And then at the very bottom, you see that 78 people liked this document. And then below the document are page comments, where people can make suggestions for new things that are not part of the current document. So that's the difference between the inline comment and the page comment. So very valuable. And that's for text, but Confluence also works with images. And you can add comments to images, so you can discuss attachments and image files. Here's an example. A presentation like this one, we can review as a team inside Confluence. So we embed the presentation. When you click on the presentation, you get a view of very beautiful file display, file viewer. And we can scroll through different slides to review. This slide talks about the image types that our file viewer supports. And maybe this is incorrect. So if I hover over the image, I can drag a pin, and I can place the pin anywhere on the page that I want. So here, I drag the pin over the word files, and then the notification panel appears. And I can write a comment that says, these file types are for the server version, but the cloud version has more file types. Please, can you fix it? And then I drag a pin to the picture, and I say, I like this picture, nice, meme, I like it. So just a discussion or comment. Then comes to the page, and he sees right here there are two comments on my attachment. And when he opens it, he gets notified about the comments. So he can review the comments. The first one says, you need to fix this. And so he says, yes, I will fix it. Thank you. I'll make that clear. So now he changes the slide in Keynote or PowerPoint or whatever document. He changes it, makes a new version. And he must upload the version to Confluence. So he resolves the comment. He pushes the upload button. He selects the new file, and he uploads. But Confluence keeps track of the version. So I have both version 2, but I can also see the original version 1. So it's a good way to collaborate on documents or images or attachments. So this file collaboration is very nice. The user experience is very, very nice. And I keep track of versions, and again, I can use comments as a task system. So the benefit here is we can move faster as a team if we use the web and products like Confluence to work on content. So, in closing, the challenge with how teams work together is that if you don't have the right tools, oftentimes you move more slowly. You move slow because you are always asking questions. Like next. When is this project complete? What is the status of the project? Or I was traveling. What did I miss? What decisions were made? Or what is the latest version of this document? We call this a windy path because these questions introduce delay and introduce slowness of how the team works, the team becomes less efficient. And Atlassian products can make the path straight, can make the path smooth. And so you don't have to ask about the status of a project or the outcome of a discussion or the latest version of a document or code. It is all kept in a single system that teams can use to move faster to a deadline. And that's what we do. And I think that is finished. So I am very thankful for seeing you here today, and I hope that the rest of the day is very successful. Come on.